right, and let's finish up talking about interviewing. Okay, so let's look at the interview process in your notes packet. Let's finish up with this. So it says preparing for an interview. We've talked about resumes. We've talked about application letters. So actually preparing for the interview. And I know you guys get this in speech class, so we're not going to spend much time here. We're not going to do any mock interviews or anything like that. It says make sure that you've got a positive attitude about your qualifications. Make sure that you know what all do you for sure want to let them know, what all do you for sure need to talk about. It says provide information concerning previous jobs. You need to go prepped and ready to have the information, phone number, whatever, to your previous job. And then you need to have whoever's going to be your references, you need to have that information ready to go. And again, all of that should be on your resume. And if it's on your resume, then you can just copy it from there. Rehearse the interview. It says role play in front of a mirror. So look at yourself. Where's your posture? What does your posture look like? That says a lot about you. If you're like, yeah, I think I can do the job. I hope I can do the job. That's not going to get you a job. You want to, the better your posture, the more confident you look. I'm not really the best example of this, but it says record an interview to critique. So record one with yourself, record yourself and then listen to yourself over again. Schedule it, make sure that you speak clearly, make sure that you've got a time that you can actually get there so you don't have to call back and reschedule, and they're not going to want to give you the time of day. So you need to make sure that you stick with it. And set an appointment. Don't say, okay, I'll come in and interview next week. No, make a time and, be specific and intentional. Being intentional is really important. Appropriate physical appearance. So you guys know how I feel about physical appearance, but make sure that you're well groomed, okay? You don't look all like you just rolled out of bed and you're all disheveled. And make sure that you're wearing something that's clean. It needs to be modest, okay? So make sure that you're not, showing more than you need to show, because you need to get the job because of your skills, if that's what you're getting the job for. And sometimes that, doesn't work out well anyway. So clothes need to be clean. They need to be in good repair. You don't need to wear anything that's tattered, anything that's got holes in it. It says a step above the standard work attire for the organization. So you should look a little bit dressier than how people work. Okay, so if I'm at the school, even though we wear, pants and whatever, colored jeans, whatever, if I were going to interview here, I'd probably wear a dress or a pantsuit, some kind of suit. This clothes should be conservative, again, not loud and flashy, not anything that says, hey, look at me, whatever, No flip-flops, no shorts, definitely not shorts, unless you're, interviewing at I guess if you're interviewing, I would never wear shorts. I don't even care if you're interviewing to be a lifeguard. You still need to look professional and you wouldn't want to wear shorts. No tank tops, no jeans. It says take a portfolio or a briefcase with it, something that you can write on. And a pen. So common interview question says for what type of position. You need to know exactly the position that you're applying for. Don't say, well, I was hoping I could get, there's like 3 job openings. I'm not really sure. Like have a first, second, and third choice if there's more than one. What are your qualifications? Know what the position is and what it requires, and then tell them the qualifications that have to do with that. Don't beat around the bush. Don't say, well, I can't do this, but I can do this. Just tell them what you can do that's related to that job. What skills do you have that would help you? What motivates you? Okay, typically this needs to be something besides, this is what I want to do. It means if you can, tell a story during that point, or if you've got I really wanted to be a nurse because my grandmother did this and this, or my sibling, or my mom or dad, or, I really wanted to be a vet tech because I love animals, and something that motivates you that's going to withstand time. Okay, you saying, oh, well, I just need the money, that's going to, as soon as there's another job that's got, whatever, you're going to be out, and they want somebody who generally speaking, they want somebody in for the long haul. How do you rate yourself as a leader? That's the kind of question you need to be prepared for. How can you really, kind of step outside yourself and look? So how would you rate yourself? And this can be a trick question. Obviously, there's always things to work on. So I probably would never rate myself as a 10, but you don't want to go too low either, because you don't want them to think you don't have self-confidence, and you don't want them to think you're not actually a leader. Be honest. How would you rate yourself? And then explain why. Well, these are some areas I'm really good at. I would maybe give myself a 7 or 8 because I'm really good at communicating with people. I'm really good at being assertive and getting things done. But sometimes I really, I didn't give myself a 10 because sometimes I really struggle with, getting things started or including people, whatever. But again, make it, those are things that you're working on, not things that you can never do, But I didn't give myself a 10 because I'm really working on including others in the decision making or whatever. I don't know. What do you feel are your greatest strengths? Okay, and these need to be good strengths, okay, because you can, burp your ABCs. That's not really a strength. But these need to be strengths that have to do with the job, and they need to be strengths, you need to be confident in them, and they need to be something that's worthwhile. Like, greatest weaknesses. Again, turn your weaknesses into something that you can work on. It says, what are your short-term and long-term goals? I already told you guys, these are things you need to have ready and prepped in your mind. Short-term goal, 1 year from now, where do you want to be? 5 years from now, where do you want to be? Do you want to go back to school? Do you want to, do you want to be a manager? Do you want to whatever? What are your goals? Okay, again, don't just say, oh, I don't know, I don't really have any goals. Come up with something. You have to have some idea of something you might like to be doing. Use that. Says, have you been dismissed from another job? Okay, so have you been fired, basically, or asked to leave, and then why? Again, turn this into something positive. My last job, I had a problem being late to work, but that's something I've really been working on. Like, I've been practicing, I've been worked on my morning routine and eliminated some things and readjusted some things, and so I've been better, and it needs to be something that you're working on. I'm forever working on being better at being on time. Someday, maybe I'll get there. Why did you leave your previous job? Okay, I saw a monster article on this one time, but don't complain about your last boss. Don't say, well, they weren't fair and they didn't do this. Because the more you push blame onto other people, the less that person is going to want to hire you, because they're going to think that you're going to do the same thing with them, that you're going to complain all the time, that you're going to blame all of your problems on somebody else, and so forth. So, yeah, sometimes that really is the reason. And if it is, then it better be a really good reason, and you need to turn it into something that you can do something about. So, I'm trying to think, if you had a boss, my last boss was expected, didn't really make their expectations very clear. I feel like, this job, I feel like I understand what the expectations are, but that would be something that I really want to discuss in detail, what the expectations are for me. So again, turn it back around to how can you make things better? Always, always, always. How many days of school or work did you miss? And let me tell you guys something. I got a call. Somebody put me down for a reference a few years back. And that was one of the things that they asked me. How was their attendance? I said, how was their attendance? So that's really important. If you're skipping out, if you're calling in sick all the time, that's something that they can potentially report to your next employer. And again, you want to have integrity. So you have to tell the truth on these if they ask these questions. If there's something negative about you or something you didn't do right at your last job, I'm not telling you to come out and, sing that out. If they ask it, tell it. If it's pertinent, then sure. If something happened and you lost your license, that would be something that they need to know. Okay, something big. But I'm talking about stuff like you were 5 minutes late to work every day. Okay, that's not something that you have to tell them in the interview. Unless that was the reason that you got fired and they said, oh, you were late, then yes, if they ask you that question, yeah. What's your most important accomplishment to date? It's just a simple question. What is the most interesting thing you've ever done? What do you feel most proud of? What moment in your life were you most proud? Those kind of questions. And again, those need to be something that has a little depth, okay? If you were proud that because, I don't know, you got 1,000 likes on Facebook or whatever, that's not really something that I would say. It would be more like maybe something that you really accomplished, like I ran a half marathon, and again, don't make these things up. I'm just telling you examples of things that would say something about you. During the interview, it says display confidence, positive attitude, assertiveness. So be forward with who you are. Don't overtalk them. If they start talking, listen. Don't just try to think in your head about the next thing that you want to say. I'm horrible at that. But listen to what they say and answer their questions. So often, this happens a lot with students too, I'll ask a question and the person won't actually answer. They just give me all this information. It's like they wanted to talk about whatever. They had something on their mind that they wanted to say, but it didn't really answer the question. And so that says, oh, they don't really listen very well. Shake hands. Remember, we practice shaking hands. So good, firm handshake. Okay, don't break their arm. Don't break their arm, but don't give them the dead fish either. It's like, look them in the eye. Sometimes I have a hard time looking people in the eye and listening. I don't know why, but anyway. Focus on your accomplishments again. Don't spend a whole lot of time on the negatives. Spend a lot of time on the positives. Make sure you smile. Not cheesy smile, but just smile. Answer questions completely and truthfully. Again, truthfully. And completely. If they ask you a question, give them the information that they need. Okay. In no way in any of this, if it took it that way, I hope not, but am I telling you to withhold truth? You don't ever want to do that. I'm just saying you only give them the need to know information unless they ask specific questions, and then you need to tell them what all they need to know. I'm just saying you don't have to lay all your stuff out there, Let's see. Maintain a good posture. Speak clearly. Focus on the job opening. No gum. Don't take gum with you. Be positive. Don't be a know-it-all. Don't act like you know everything, okay? Because odds are, if they're going to be your boss, they probably know more than you do. It says, remember your body language sends a strong message, okay? And remember all the things that we learned about that. Don't interrupt them. Let them speak. Answer really thoughtfully. Like, you don't have to just blurt out an answer immediately. A couple moments of silence, not moments, but few seconds of silence is okay for you to gather up your thoughts. No slang, no cursing. Make eye contact. Make sure you thank them for interviewing you before you leave. Follow up. Always want to send a thank you note within a couple days and just thank them for the interview. Make a phone call to say, just, hey, I had an interview this week and just wanted to check back in. Self-evaluate your performance. So look, what should I have done different? What should I have mentioned? What should I have not mentioned? And so forth. All right, now it says you got the job. So first day, listen, ask questions, figure out everything. Make sure any forms that you fill out, they're accurate and legible. Make sure you bring your ID. They're always going to have a copy of your ID. Make sure you ask for copies of whatever you're signing. Take notes. Be prepared. Take a pen and a notebook so you can take notes on whatever you need to take notes on. Learn where the reference materials are. So, you need to know where, if I don't know something, which it's likely that you won't because you're going to be new, figure out how do you figure it out. You don't want to have to ask everybody every little thing. Create a file of your documents as you get them. Read their employee handbook. Always read the handbook. There may be something in there that you have no idea about, and you can get fired over little things like that. Every company is different. It says learn the rules and what's expected. Don't be afraid to ask questions if you're uncertain. Okay, so again, those are just for you guys. I want you guys can get started on your resumes and your application letters. Again, I want you to use this Anytown Medical Center. That's the job that you're applying for. You can use these formats. Again, for me, I say as far as your letters go, you can have like an introductory paragraph, your body, and then a closing one. I left my sister's for you guys to see, but you know, hers isn't necessarily perfect either. Mine wouldn't be either. Hers has got 2 big paragraphs. I would shorten that a little bit, I think. And unless you have something specific, and always, you know, if there's something specific that catches your, like maybe, okay, maybe you're doing this and this is, you know, you're wanting to be a physical therapist. Okay, so you want to be this transport aid to get your feet wet you want to get into the hospital system and learn how things work and learn about different disciplines to make you a better physical therapist. Those are the kind of things that you can say for a job like this, you know, that would go along. Your resume worksheet is in there, so you can fill it out before you get started. There's some other examples. I don't care what your format looks like. It does not have to look like mine, your resume. But the main things is that, and look at, there's a resume rubric in here, okay? And I will use this. That's all, and all, for the most part, I'll use it. So all and only important resume parts are included. So only the things that you really need. Order of the parts fit their skills. So for you guys, it's probably going to be more education, depending on what other jobs you've had. Resume items highlight the strengths, so they really bring out your strengths as a person. White space, margins, and tabs are used effectively and attractively. Okay, it needs to be very easy to read. It needs to flow really well. I mean, everything needs to be really easy to find. Strong action verbs are used. Okay, you're not going to say, well, I might this, or I could do this, or I would. You're going to say, you know, I have, you know, I don't know, I can't think of anything. I know my brain is leaving me today. But strong action verbs are like you're confident in it. It says, I know how to do this. Okay, it's not a hopefully I can, so forth. This is, you know, I know CPR. I mean, I know what to do in case of emergency situation. I'm strong and able to push, you know, 200 pounds in a wheelchair, whatever. I don't know. That's probably not all that strong, but strong, I mean, information is clearly provided, so it's easy to find. Effective use of fonts, bolding, special effects. Always do something to highlight, bold, italicize. You know, when you do your outline, pull it to the left. Your categories. You just want it to be really easy to read. And then no spelling, grammar, or word usage errors. Okay, so none of that. None. Should be none at all. Anyway, so once you guys get it printed, once you guys get it ready, you need to have somebody proofread it, and then you can take the paper, the resume paper, and print it on there. For those of you guys who are in my class online, you guys can use regular paper, or if you've gotten resume paper, that's fine too. Okay, you guys have fun.